inward beauty. Remember, beauty starts within. We're very grateful that you've gifted us with your time today while we kick off our Pose With Me series with my very favorite yoga instructor, Atiba of AtibaOmar.com. And he said before we learn any other posture or asana or asanas, we need to learn the proper care, use, and feeding of our yoga mat.
Thank you very much for having me, Tawaya. We begin from the beginning. When you build any structure, you of course start with the foundation. Yoga is no exception. When building the structure of yourself through the ancient practice of yoga, you likewise build from the foundation up. Unfortunately, in yoga, the true foundation is kind of like the lettuce in your salad, noble but undervalued. So we take here a moment to rectify this undervaluation. In yoga, as we say, the true foundation is what I think of as a magic flying carpet, but which is more commonly referred to as the yoga mat. No doubt, no doubt, there are 10,000 uses you can extract from the yoga mat, but the basic functions are five. Function one, the yoga mat provides traction. Perhaps the split is the best example of why traction or stickiness is necessary. When splitting, you must, of course, control your descent because obviously it will be no fun if your foot goes further than your groin is wanting to go. Indeed, some mats are called sticky mats precisely because they are made with extra traction so as to prevent your feet from slipping. The flip side to this advantage is that the very traction of a sticky mat that stops your foot from slipping also stops or interferes with your posture because it hinders your slide. If this is the case, you rectify that by merely keeping one foot on the mat to anchor the posture and putting the other foot on the grass to slide. Or if you are inside and you're on a floor, wood surface, or whatever surface it might happen to be, you put one foot on the mat and one foot on the floor using anything, a towel, a shirt. I've even used my sneakers when I was practicing on concrete. If I had to get on my heel, I'd use whatever was around in order to accomplish the posture. So that is function one. The yoga mat provides traction. Function two is the yoga mat helps with alignment. Yoga is sacred geometry. Everything must be just so. An extremely essential understanding we will examine in another video. For now, let us just consider the fact. The yoga mat helps with alignment. For example, Warrior 2 requires that you have your hips facing forward. If your feet are like so, difficult to do. In order to get your placement right, the placement of your feet correct, it's advisable put your front forward foot on the edge of your mat with the edge of your foot Bring the other foot over to the opposite edge of your mat, or depending upon how tall you are, how long your legs are, might even bring it off the mat. In any case, this helps you determine what your alignment is. So every time you do the warrior, you know exactly where to place your foot depending upon your own anatomy. And likewise, say if you're doing the crossbar, you want your knee, foot, hip to be in one alignment. So visibly, you can determine that me by looking. As for the other foot, sometimes it's not so certain if your foot is in the right place. So you use the borders of the mat to determine if your foot is and your leg are in the right direction. Yoga mat function 2 helps with alignment. Function 3, the yoga mat provides cushion. So if you have sufficient openness, flexibility in your joints, you can kneel on a stone without discomfort, almost. So conversely, if you have tightness in your joints and your muscles, ligaments, the more resistance you have in your body, the more it is affected, the more resistance that is created by a hard surface. So if you have cushion, this reduces the resistance tremendously, even something as thin, seemingly, as the cushion of a yoga mat. Function 4, the yoga mat provides cushion, but in this case, cushion you may not want. Say, for example, if you're standing on a piece of foam rubber, you don't have a firm foundation, a firm stance. It wobbles, it gives. The same is true for a yoga mat. Even though it's very thin, it still gives a little. If you're doing a balancing posture, then sometimes that wobble or that cushion is not secure enough, so you might wobble. You see? Huh? If you have sufficient control, fine. Sometimes when you're first developing your capacity, you want the strongest, firmest foundation possible. So in that case, you step off, you step off, you step off the yoga mat onto the surface, and there you have great stability. The last thing to consider, function 5, is that the yoga mat helps you chart your progress. For example, if you're doing, say, head to earth, and you place your feet way like so, and you don't know it, you can't remember it, like so. And next time you come, you place your feet further away, which in this case is not what you want. And head to earth, you want your feet closer together. So if you place your feet further away because you don't have the exact spots in your mind, then you're not progressing. Perhaps a better example might be the downward facing dog. If, for example, you have your position like so, in order for you to progress, every time you do the posture, you must have your feet and hands at the exact same distance. If you have them closer, then that means you have not challenged your body more. You, in fact, have regressed. You have challenged it less. So the yoga mat helps you get an idea of where your length is, where your depth is. Every time you do the posture, you return to the same position on the mat and then increase it as your body allows. Lastly, now, the yoga mat must be properly fed and cared for. These considerations are really two sides of one coin. Since everything is energy, you feed your yoga mat by bringing it only good energy. That's good food. That means the food of peace, the food of justice, the food of wholesome thoughts, the food of love, the food of gratitude, so that only good nurturing, good nutrition is given to this environment, this universe that you practice on for your sublime cultivation. And since wholesomeness is, it requires cleanliness, that is how your yoga mat is cared for. Keep your yoga mat clean. First, do not walk on it with your footwear. If you step off the mat during practice, your feet get dusty. If it's possible, wipe your feet off before you step on your mat again. Sometimes you're flowing, you don't even care. Beautiful. But as a rule, you want to keep your mat really clean so that you don't get complications, stuff. And periodically clean your mat with a solution to wire the saucEress of inward beauty. Very great concoction she came up with. Um, 4 or 5 tablespoons of vinegar. Is that apple cider vinegar or is it any kind of vinegar?
Apple cider vinegar is what I use. I'm sure you can use any type of vinegar. Uh, 4 parts water and then 1 part vinegar.
Okay, 4 parts water, 1 part vinegar, and then a tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide.
No, that wasn't my concoction.
Okay, so
Baking soda.
baking soda, pardon me, baking soda. Very, very wholesome cleansing agent. Very effective, very wholesome. And after you wash, rinse, and dry your magic flying carpet, anoint it with lavender or whatever extract it is that makes your nostrils happy. Respect, use your yoga mat wisely. Otherwise, you're cheating yourself.
And
And
what's
what's
the
the
point
point
in
in
that?
that? Ashe.
Thank you, Atiba of AtibaOmar.com. We really appreciate you sharing with us the proper use and care and feeding of your yoga mat. You guys, thank you for gifting us with your time. This is the sorceress here of Inward Beauty, and we absolutely look forward to you guys posing with us. Remember, beauties, beauty
Beauty
starts
starts within.
within.